Alright, I'm going to be VODing Reckless Gamma versus USU Blue on the Malga comp, and then I don't even think we played Dive. I think Sig comp as well. But let's take a look at it. The main things we're going to be looking at here, let's turn down the audio. The main things we're going to be looking at here are the engage timings as well as just our positioning. So for reference right here, this is a good pick with the far comp onto the cast. Decent engagement. It's pretty much in the open, so there's really no need. You don't really want to take the engage here because of the angles. From our side, though, then the main thing that I'm already seeing from the positioning here is the angles. So I'll actually go back just a little bit because I probably missed it. So right here, this is fine playing inside and not taking much poke. However, we do want angles here as we have that far cross angle. And if we have both of our supports in here, nobody can support the Farah over here. So we do want to make sure we're playing angles, whether it's like right behind this cover as they rotate. If they're playing in this area, sure, playing over here or even over here is fine, just so we're able to support from several different angles. But it's similar like the original Kiri Tracer, where the Kiri can still kind of play on a slight angle, still in LOS of the Malga. I'm not saying right here exactly, but as we have that far coming in from above, then we need to be able to at least be able to support from outside or wherever. That way, we can still put poke out while we're rotating. So it's a good kill on the cast. The Tracer comes in right after, I believe, so it comes in now. And this is where the next thing I noticed goes wrong. So our tank, myself, is in a pretty bad spot right now because of a bad engagement. So we basically need to make sure that we're kiting to stage for another engage. In this comp and in this meta, a lot of times that next target might be this Lucio. As strange as it sounds, because of the a lot of times these Lucios are just in. Plus the very instant damage from the Malga, from a Farah shot, a cast shot, anything like that. This guy gets melted very quickly. So looking for that Lucio, sometimes as the first even primary target or even second target, whatever. Yeah, sure, Malga's a great target. He's huge, whatever. When you're on your E, like when you're using your cardiac overdrive, sure, shoot the Malga, shoot the bigger target, shoot the cast, shoot the BAP, whatever. In these comps with the Kiri Lucio, it's either, at this point, it's either the Malga or the Lucio. If the Lucio's right next to the Malga, it's a pretty good option. Or even if the Lucio's in on your backline. So the next part here that goes wrong is, so this Tracer goes in behind. Instead of everybody turning to put, 3 people are about to turn and push this Tracer out, instead of just pushing. That's all that really needs to happen here, because that Tracer just goes into a weird spot. So now 3 people have gone to deal with the Tracer who just recalls immediately, and then they push on the tank. Who doesn't have cardiac overdrive, by the way, because of a wasted cooldown. Even still, it's decent burst, but we're still up 1, so there's no reason that their Malga should live longer. So again, just target priority and target focus. I believe this fight gets cleaned up here. Again, the angles are here are decent. This isn't bad. And then again, it's just priority. Where am I going? I don't even know what sound that was. Okay, again, just... So this is fine, just getting very tunneled here. Like, your cast is half. If this Malga decides to go on the cast is going to die. Because by the time he goes on the cast, there's no way you're going to be able to turn in time. So this is fine to poke, but then you should still be looking at your team to help heal. Meanwhile, the Farah is going on a flank, which is good too. The Lucio's in. This is fine. Just from a Kiri perspective, make sure you're still carrying your team while this is happening and don't get sucked into the fight. Because you don't really need to push into the point here, because now you're going to become the primary target. It's a good kill, but just be kind of cautious there. If their team was playing a lot more in sync with each other, then that would go a lot worse. Skipping ahead a little bit. Okay, so same thing. So one thing to note is we have the ult advantage. We don't have to play super aggressively. However, they are very split on the rotation, so it is perfectly reasonable. There's no reason to sit back here and poke this long. We can really pressure this choke right here, especially because of the Farah. And we can basically negate, if they want to push all the way through, they can, and TP out. But we can definitely put some early pressure here until they rotate, just to kind of really get some value. We might be able to get a pick on the Lucio, get cleanse out, whatever. But this is still fine. But yeah, we don't need to play super passive. Again, we don't want to be all stacked up right here. We need to have these angles, which is why, like I said before, having this pressure here allows us to have, our cast can be even staged over here with the Lucio. That way the Lucio can taxi or even protect if the Tracer shows up or their Lucio shows up, and just play these split angles here, just really put pressure on them. And then when they do push, then our backline, our cast backs up and our Malga pushes forward. And then again, our Kiri's on a slight angle here to start, and then rotates right back here. And then our Pharah is again just sitting up here briefly. It's very different with the new Pharah, but our Pharah can start up here in these positions and just like kind of put damage into these chokes from places that their team can't even shoot them from. But again, just very split, and then as soon as we engage, then it should be relatively 3-2-1 with the Malga. And let's see how the Malga gets so low. So I think that's Cardiac going out right now. He's just burning. I keep hitting F8. Alright. Yeah, so Cardiac is still up. You see the cast has no roll. I'm getting... Yeah. So our tank is getting melted because of peeking too much, and they're already pressuring. This cast has no roll, so that is the engagement timing. And then we should have... I've got to stop hitting that button. Hold on. How do I turn this thing off? Okay, should be good. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so sorry about that. So in this situation, we do have the cleanse, we do have the barrage coming out. That cast is the trigger, so then we just need to make sure we're taking less damage from the rest of their team, and by we, I mean the tank. That way, when we do pop this Cardiac, then we're able to kind of stabilize. I think. Yeah, we're using it right now. That's fine. Let's take a look from the cast's perspective here. So same thing again, like, realistically, there's nothing that's going to get onto the cast. So, like, the only person that really is going to get onto our cast, which is like which should be their primary target after pushing out the Malga, which is fine, is the Malga. Sure, they have a Pharah. Like, the Pharah really isn't going to do too much in the grand scheme of things. Like, we're mirror comping, so it's mostly just who can put out more damage and who can get more valuable splash damage. So we just got to make sure that obviously our cooldowns are better in this type of mirror. However, again, just because we're trying not to take damage doesn't mean we can't play aggressively. Like, we don't want to play super passively just because we don't want to take damage. We have to make sure that we're taking these angles. So we should really be taking advantage, again, like I said before, of this angle over here. If we're staged in this building, then we're not able to really get value. Our Pharah is taking a really good angle. However, if the Pharah is sitting at this angle, she's not able to get capitalization on this choke, and even on this choke, because she's gonna have to leave as soon as they get over to here. So we should really be split, like I said before, where our Pharah can still kind of play main, or even just up here, just kind of like hovering or whatever, and getting our Pharah is like splashing this choke here while the cast is taking this angle. Our Lucio can also be over here as well. That way we can still get that value, and then again our Malga's kind of like trying to burn targets and get people in the possibility of dying with our Kiri. Like, even our Kiri can still play, but again, split. We don't want to be like stacked in one same spot. So I would say ideally the Pharah and the cast should switch places. Lucio plays with the cast to get him out, like I said before. So again, you see as the Pharah leaves, so Pharah wants to get tapped. This is really good from the Pharah here. Again, just we need to have more pressure over here as they're rotating. It's all about pressure. If we get cooldowns out as they rotate before they get to the choke, then we get a lot more value. So let me actually go to the cast's POV, because it doesn't seem like they're actually getting much value. So has a little bit of poke there, and then now just kind of waiting. And waiting. And waiting. So again, the positioning isn't, the distance isn't what I'm concerned about. The distance is fine. I'm happy with that. However, it's the angles and the positioning of the cast where we're not really getting any poke value while they're rotating, which is the key part of this comp. And then obviously, like, it's fine to play this far back, so the Malga can't just push back. I mean, if their Malga is dumb enough to push all the way over here, we just rotate and then we burn him out here, and we just counter dive him. But so that's not bad, but just a lot more pressure is really helpful. Let's get into angles. So their Malga goes in. That's the trigger. He cages. They beat as well, so this is fine. So again, the counter to this should be a cage and Kiri Rush, because that will just overpower. If they're Kiri Rushes as well, sure, that's when we probably pop the beat. However, we don't need to use beat yet because we're using Kiri Rush. I don't know exactly what happens here, but what I am looking for is from Gamma to pop the cage here, use the Rush, and then if they invest Rush as well, and it looks like things are getting hairy, then we beat. But we don't need to beat if there's no need to. So we'll see if we just counter beat just because, or if it... Okay. How does our Kiri die? Okay, our Kiri's just in. So our Kiri has really bad positioning right now because they're just trying to like 1v4. So our Kiri is in a really bad spot right now where all we need to do is burn this Malga and care anybody else that the Malga might get on. And then our Kiri also needs to be ready. Doesn't really need to be ready for the high noon cleanse because they're not going to be charging that. So that's not a worry. So, but our Kiri just needs to play it safer. That way, the Rush I actually don't even think is in the cage. Yeah. So this Rush is only helping our Kiri right now. So this is a really bad placement of the ult. We need to be just counter rushing the cage. And then the beat came out at a decent time. They did actually end up rushing. I don't think the beat was needed though. Yeah, so their Kiri goes down, our Kiri goes down. And then we don't really need the beat yet. Like, we're just now getting the point that we might need the beat, or, you know, a couple seconds before. But we're kind of still up, and especially if our Kiri doesn't go into the point like that. Yeah. So they just have those. So yeah, again, so their Rush comes out later, so they have the better cooldown advantage or ult rotation there, and then we don't have the beat to kind of stabilize after that Rush is out. So we can't really kite as well because we want to hold the point. So I mean, yeah, this fight looks like it's really just the Kiri makes a misplay, goes into the point, and then dies too early. And then we're not able to stabilize with the beat later on, plus RBC or Kiri healing. And again, this rotation is all about, so there's two ways you can go about this, right? You can go white room or you can go left side. I know the call here is to go left and take this dojo area and take the space here. That's mostly because we have the Pharah comp. The only other thing that you could do, and you know, the other play is you go into here and you leave your Pharah main, and then your Pharah kind of puts pressure from back here, and then maybe your Kiri is playing around the Pharah as well. However, if your Kiri is over here trying to heal the Pharah, your Kiri can't really heal your team, so all they have to do is walk straight. So the better way to do this is position yourselves in a way that you just have more space. You have these angles, you have these different doors that you're poking. You force them into the one door. It's like the let me draw the picture here. It's about just having control over chokes. So that your layout looks like this, where you have one circle that has one path in, and then you have the 3 paths in the other circle. If you have 3 different doors you can shoot through, and you own this space over here, then you're basically the king. If you push them and you like funnel them into this choke, well, now you have the advantage and you make them have to basically push back into the point. So that's really the goal here, is just to force them off this point. I should probably draw this too. It's a donut. You should force them off this point into this tight little space that they have to basically deal with. And then we control like our Pharahs over here, our Cass and Lucio are over here, our Malga's like kind of playing near the point or whatever, and we're just like really putting a lot of pressure. Kiri can be kind of wherever. And we're just putting all this pressure, just force them into this little choke, and then we make our engage after that. Because the more we tighten them up, then the better our Pharah has value. If their Pharah is like sitting over here trying to shoot the cast Lucio, well, she's maybe hitting 2 people, whereas our Pharah is hitting 4 or 5 people. So that's like that's the reasoning for why you would want to take this open space and force them out of it. And we can also do that really easily with Malga. So just taking space now with cooldowns. That's an unfortunate boop. That is fine. Okay, right here, this is really bad. This is really bad. So we don't need to go this far in. This is too deep. Again, we just need to force them out. We did actually, they rotated out here, so this is actually smart from them, playing more in the open, because they can kind of control, they can control their positioning a lot better now versus being tightened up in the point. However, if they leave the point, we can force them back to the point by just forcing point. Now, this isn't like, it depends on the ults, obviously. We have only barrage. So in this situation, we need to get our Pharah in somehow, which means that we need to basically direct where they go. So we're either directing them this way or we're directing them back to point. If our Lucio goes to point here and our Malga stabilizes while this is happening, then we can basically counter dive them because they have to use cooldowns to get back over there. And if they use cooldowns to get over there, their cast is going to be split out. So that's really the main gist of like what needs to happen. So our Pharah gets in, we get the space. And then, so this is just full sending a little bit too much because I don't think Cardiac is up, and I could be wrong. Yeah, Cardiac is down. So we don't really want to be continuing to push this with Cardiac gone. We really just need to take our space and keep it. And then again, we can just keep our Lucio to go over the point, or even the cast can rotate this way. And then as our cast rotates, he's rotating further from their Malga, so their Malga can't really step on him. And if he does try to, we have cleanse, we have whatever we need. But we just need to play this slower. We force them out. We just go in and force them to come back. When they come back on this rotation, somewhere in this area, that's when we make our engagement onto their casts. Or, you know, we burn the Pharah or whatever as she rotates, as she gets 2 split. We get kind of lucky here with the rotations, but again, okay, positional. There's no reason for, again, and this is based off of where our tank goes, and the tank goes in a really bad spot where he's out of LOS. But this is where our cast needs to, again, play open sight lines. Our Kiri needs to play open sight lines. We shouldn't be like pushing into this room when they're already in there and they control that space. We should be taking all of this space, and we own all of this, and we force them into a small choke. If we force them there, our Malga can sit at this corner. If their Malga is right here, then the only obvious choice is just shooting their Malga. And we burn the Malga, force him back inside. And then again, now if the Malga's inside, we control all of this space. And now we just cap point. And if they try to push out, well, then we just counter dive that. Or if their cast is like pushing out from this side, we counter dive that. But we have all the space we need, and we have them at a choke. We have them at a choke. If they try to come this way, we have them at a choke. But we want to keep them at these chokes, and then we just take all the space around it. So we don't need to full send it back here with our Malga, and then all of us go into this room and try to shoot in this room. Just take the space that we got because of their poor rotation. That's unfortunate. So again here, this is a bit different because again, we're down people. Still can put poke pressure out, but we are down our Pharah. They're down their Malga though. So we're kind of winning there. But again, we just need to play aggressively. We have both supports. We have all the damage we need. We just need to play up here. Like our Malga should be already pressuring White Room with our whole team. Our Kiri should be with our Malga. Our Lucio doesn't really need to taxi far. That's not our Lucio, is it? Yeah. Our team can just be up here, just pressuring this choke. Because the only person that can really push past a Malga is a Malga. So be really aggressive here and holding this choke very aggressively. If they try to push, we just instantly are on top of them. We've got High Noon coming up. Nobody can stop the High Noon. We have cleanse. We have like amp beat or amp speed, amp heals, all of those. So there's really no need to kind of play very passively like this. We just push in because they have to walk. They're on Doom now, so it's a bit different, but we're set up decently. All right, Doom's in. Our space is here. Oh, my draw stopped working. There we go. We have all of this space, and their Doom just punches right into it, into the middle. So if you think of it like a big, I'll try to keep this concept, but whenever you have your space and you see a red blob show up in the middle of all your space, well, instead of pushing and splitting, where this is first picture, I wish I knew how to draw this better, but this is your first image where the red starts to like push into your, as Coach said, calls it your house. Well, if red is in your house, and then we decide, oh, let's push in, and then we have people here. So now we've got this space, and we've got this space. Well, now red basically controls all of this space. So we have to push out whatever's in, because now we're not playing like a full dive where it's like, okay, fine, we'll either trade backline or our backline just better and can handle it, which is fine. But in this situation, there's no need to push all the way into their house when we don't even need to, where all we need to do is force cooldowns, force their doom out, then we control all this space again, their doom's gone, and then we push in. Then we just counter dive it that way. This is fine. Questionable roll into the point there, but should be fine either way. I mean, it's just pretty much clean up at this point. It's a good TP to save yourself, yeah. So I mean, overall, they're kind of like playing rushing to get to point, which is it's fine, but overall not bad. But yeah, definitely just play positions more. That way we can kind of control the flow and the tempo of the fights. All right. Next map. So this one is the junk map, where they just go junk. They just play chokes. They just spam. They have more spam than us, so we need to make very clean engages. Because the longer we're in sight of them, the faster they're going to push us out. So again, this is the same situation where they're really split right now, like all things considered. But so are we. Our whole team needs to just be rotating. There's no reason to stop. All we need to do is just rotate around this way. We can play up on this high ground. We can do whatever we want. We control the point, and then as soon as we get our venture staged on it from an off angle, we can go on their casts. Again, just steal the cast, or the junk if the junk doesn't have mines. But again, like, why would you go on a junk when they can just mine themselves away if they're smart? So just again, cast is still primary target. Lucio's secondary. Junk's a really good secondary if he's like in. But if he's just super far away, there's no point in like pushing him to get like just sent away even further. So just play for the cast, stabilize, go for another targets, burn the Amalga in the meantime. But it's a very like 3-2-1, and we push, so it has to be in sync, and we can't be getting poked out and forcing our cooldowns out super early. So the rotations are really key here in the pre-fight setup. So again, this comes down to our BAP not rotating at all, and our Lucia should really just be helping the BAP get in. There's no reason for the BAP to still be here, so we just need to rotate. And then we just play for point. We don't need to go into White Room because they control White Room. Having a Junkrat just makes you control White Room. There's no point in trying to like take this, unless you like playing a mirror. There's no point in trying to like fight a Junkrat in this space where there's just walls everywhere, and you're just going to get trapped, and you're going to get blown up and whatever. Just give them that space, and then force their Junkrat to have to actually hit shots and like push you out by playing split. Our Malga hides, Baps up here. Same, like it's almost identical to the Sig comp, it's just less poke. So we just kind of poke from afar with the comp that we have. We bait them in so that our venture can get more value, and then we push in. But instead, we're like trying to play way too quickly on this, and our BAP doesn't rotate. So that's the fight right there. Like, our BAP doesn't rotate, our BAP's dead. Our venture is kind of in too early, and we're just dead. And then I can almost guarantee it's the same thing here. It's all about it's okay not to play the game for like 10 seconds. It's okay. We don't have to like do anything. Just play passively. Don't peek things, and then we just go. So same thing here, where they don't control White Room and they control this choke. Well, they've got a trap here. They're all looking at this choke. Immediately, as soon as you see this, don't push through the choke. That's it. Just don't push through the choke. Just go high, go white. If they go to meet, so this is where it should go. So the rotation itself, I wish I had like the better view thing here. The rotation itself should just be come up through high, go towards white. If they all rotate and they're in this room, then just keep rotating. And like you can keep doing this, and then you can leave people, right? So if they go here, it's fine to make these long rotations, because if it works out, I mean, it is worth it in the end. So one option is you go through there, right? Other option is you just go through white and then you come out through top. That's another good option too, because then your BAP's safe. Nobody can get on the BAP except the junk if he's like, I don't know what the term for it would be, if he wants to, if he's brave enough, dumb enough. If the junk tries to like double conk up here to get to your BAP, well, their Junkrat's basically getting 0 value, and then if you're already on top of their cast, well, it's free. So just come out through the high ground, you break the choke. Again, please remember that term. You break the choke. Instead of just trying to like barrel your way through a choke that they're already holding, just break the choke by going through somewhere else immediately, through a different choke. So again, that's why maybe you don't go through white room here and you come out from top instead. And then once you get out from top, your BAP can play up here safe, your Malga's playing LOS still, and then your Venture stages while we're leaving top. The other thing too is your Venture, it can get a little risky here. Not risky, but can get a little frisky. I don't know what the right term would be. Your Venture can be smart. And instead of just going with the whole team, your Venture stays kind of split. Everybody drops from high ground except your Venture, who hides like over here or something. Or you even leave her back by spawn. And then when they rotate, because they're going to, they have to, then your Venture comes in from behind. That's when you look for your stage on the cast. You find the cast, he's here, he's probably going to be here. You push out, and then your Venture comes from behind. And then you make this your kill box. And then you stabilize, because you still have lamp. You stabilize, whether it's back here, not ideal, but over here on the far side of point. And then you like just start taking your space from there, because you're up one. That's what should happen. What does end up happening is a completely different story. It's like the most plat thing I've ever seen. Okay, so we get space through here because they just kind of leave it, which is fine. Now, instead of burrowing under immediately and just looking for a target without seeing anything, take the time to position, stage, scout, and then go, okay, let's go cast. He's wherever. But if we burrow like this, we're just going to go in, come out of burrow, and then we don't have burrow. So I'll show you what actually happens from the Venture's POV. Genji goes down. Unfortunate. It's Junkrat. The thing he did. But we do this, but I mean, just look at the team. We're not safe. Even if we had the Genji, look at our team. This is our team. We got BAP here, Lucio here, Malga here, Venture here. It's just a conga line. Like, we're not going to get any value. Like, it's just chaining. We're chaining our dive. Where our Venture's going to go in, then our Malga's going to go in, then our Lucio's going to be in, and our BAP's just not even going to be there. Like, our BAP's just going to have to sit there and fight a Lucio. So, again, just super rushed engagement, whereas we just need to take that space that we had there, and then we do some scouting, because we've gotten this positioning. This is position 1. This is checkpoint 1. Good job. We got here. We forced them out. But we can't just immediately go for a dive out in this whole area as step 2. Like, we have to scout. We have to position, we have to scout, and then we have to stage. I don't know if you guys want to remember it that way: position, scout, stage. But like, that's just what it is. You take your space, and then you still need to scout for your next thing, and then stage for it. The scouting part would just be your Venture coming over here and seeing, oh, their cast is like on X ping, or their junk is over here, or whatever, or and then the stage would be your Venture going underground. But if your Venture stages from that choke all the way over here and then just goes without seeing anything, we're skipping the positioning and the scouting, and then we just go to immediately go in, but nobody on the team can help. So Venture, you gotta pay attention to where your team is, and then our batch like 1v1 Lucio. So again, we just lose the fight. We're down our Genji, so it's whatever, but all the other stuff still could have made this winnable, but not when we just barrel through. Playing way too fast. Okay, so everybody goes high. And again, break the choke. This is where, like I've said before, but this is where instead of staying in white room, we need to push. We need to be aggressive when we push through this choke. That way we can own this space. We don't want to sit here in this space, like contesting it, where it's like 50% of it is their team, and then 50% of it's, 50% of it's our team, because again, especially because of the Junkrat, where he's just going to be lobbing nades here, we need to own this choke and then rotate behind it. So as our, and this is the same thing as over here, for example, where our Malga basically owns this space. He's just controlling this space. and then our backline rotates behind. Our Lucio gets the BAP over there quickly, and then our Genji can take an angle, and then our Venture's like staged wherever. We need to rotate behind our tank so that we own the space, and then we pivot. Same thing here, where our Mauga owns this space, but we're not going to stay in this space. We want to get behind it. We want to get through. We want to go around. So we need to take the space, take the angles, and then treat it like basically the same way, where we don't want to play in white, but we just stage around it, and then, you know, we go around even back here. We trail over here and then rotate behind. Because our main goal of going through white was just to get past the first choke. So now we take space. We see their cast is split, so we need to stage. We can't just go in from here, because if our Venture burrows right here and then tries to go in the cast, it's just not going to work. It just won't. So we have to stage. So now we've done the positioning, we've done the scouting, so stage. So now we have to actually get our team in rotation to get to where we need to go. We have got Blade too, so this is a decent fight win ult there. But we don't really have anything else. So we force them out. Again, we're just not staged for any of this, right? So I'll back it up a little bit. So Venture burrows from all the way over here, just in front of everybody. Their whole team sees it coming. So it's just like swinging through with a ball. Like, burrowing in like this is fine, but we don't have any angle. Our Genji is not taking an angle. If our Genji was, let's say, over on this side over here and was able to like pinch, fine, that works. It's just like if you have, I don't know, an Echo or a Tracer or somebody else coming from a side angle, then that actually gives you a lot more value. But right now we are just running down a straight line with no angle. And we can't just int with no angles. We have to have some kind of angle here. Like if our Genji's over on this side over here, he's poking the cast, and then our Kiri TP's over here, and then we push in from here with the Venture, and then our Mauga Lucio push in. Kiri can stabilize them afterwards, and then we stabilize on this side of the point. Sure, that gives you an opportunity. But right here we just burrow in, and then just like go in with it. So then sure, we get the stun on the cast. Now they're Junkrats up here, kind of tiring, and then we're already kind of low. Now you're just not going to get anything on this. You just lost. They used 3 ults there, so that actually is worth. And then now we get our ult. This honestly isn't the worst thing in the world, because now we have 1 fight remaining. We forced them to use 3 ults. Force is a questionable term. We got them to use 3 ults by just inting, which is fine, but we need some kind of off angle when we do that. Otherwise, we're just throwing. So that's fine. It's not the end of the world. However, it can be done a lot smarter. We also just stagger, I think, way too much. Yeah, we just stagger, so they're just dying. That way we can go in again. We could add 10 more percentage to go in. So now it's just going to be kind of rushed and just like full sending it. So yeah, their cast is actually pretty smart. He's playing far away. So we take the space here, own this half. Again, backline needs to rotate. We don't want to go into them this way. Our backline needs to rotate. So again, right here, where Venture doesn't know who they're going on until they're already burrowed. That's not good. You always should know who your target is. You need to know where the target is when you burrow, and you need to make sure that you're actually close enough to get in with the burrow. So if their cast keeps backing, well, obviously we're not going to full send it on their cast back here. That's just out of the question. So we need to look for, you know, the Mauga, or we need to like play angles that the cast doesn't have. And then if the cast tries to like rotate over here to C, then we might be able to push him and kill him. But until then, like, we can't really do anything about that. Just fine. So this is actually decent. We go on the Mauga, the cast rotates away. So now we know the cast is close enough. So there's the cast. So we get the space, we get the point, now we stabilize. I don't know where the blade ends up getting, but it is what it is. So again, we have point, we stabilize, we put pressure on them now. And then they're done. That's good. So let's see how the actual engagements here come from a defensive point of view, because this is what makes it really important. Again, the whole team should be still playing up. The team needs to know what's coming. We need to have angles on this choke. We need to put pressure. We need to be able to go in on this kill box. There's no need to like play really back, because if we give them space to rotate, they're just gonna get more value. We have the comp that goes first. We have a comp that they can't really get poke damage on us because we're already on top of them. So now we just need to be prepared to go in. So our Venture needs to be stays in a spot, whether it's here or wherever, that they can just instantly burrow and come up on them. Like, we need to be ready with it. And basically, that's just timing. Like, it's super easy to like time. Okay, they're walking now. Venture burrows as soon as they start walking through the choke, and then we go. But our whole team needs to be staged for it, where our Genji can dash in, he can deflect the Junkrat mines, he can deflect the Malga, our Kiri can cleanse it as we need to. We've got amp heals, because we don't really need the speed, because we're already on top of them. And then we're just like stabilizing, and we get like 2 or 3 kills before they can even blink. Right now. So right now is where the Venture should burrow. Venture should burrow. Venture should burrow. Venture burrows, but now the Junkrat hits her up. Burrow comes out. They ult. That's fine, because we still have ult and Venture ult. Like, Cage Venture is amazing. It's still great. Even if you don't even, maybe you don't might not even need it. Okay, there it is. That's fine. The Malga's in, the Kiri's in too, so our Malga dies for no reason really. It's kind of just poor positioning. Just play the corner here and shoot the Malga. Get the health off the Malga, and then you're good. We should be okay here. Yeah. So overall, like, it works, but it's super sloppy. We just didn't go in. And then now we have to play back because we're down the Malga. So they push in. We control White Room. We control White Room. That's key. Because now we have angles. I don't know where our Venture is going right now, but our Venture's in Timbuktu, not staged for this actual engagement. So now we're going to be slow. Because all of our engages go off of this Venture. So, again, Venture burrows from behind the corner. Nobody can... She can't see anything. They can't see anything. So now we're just, like, stuck in this, again, same loop, where we're just burrowing, and then we just, like, go on so-and-so. And then you just go on that person randomly, and then, you know, if you burrow from over here and their cast is here, well, you're not getting there in time with your burrow. So you're going to end up, like, right here, popping out in the middle of nowhere, and then you can't get out. So we have to make sure we're timing these burrows properly. That way, even if they do rush, then, yeah, sure, we can kite this. We can just rotate. But if we understand like that we're already positioned here for this choke, then we're going to be fine. There's no reason we couldn't have gone in this choke. And then again, the positioning of this ult, this Kiri ult, is just kind of rough. Like, we're not going to get much value off of this because we have to play in this one spot and like back here. But that doesn't give us an opportunity to actually get in. So it needs to be angled this way because that's where we're actually taking the fight. And then we can kind of flip here if we need to onto that cast. So now we're down our Malga again. Decent blade, but they just beat it. And then again, super split. Like, again, I think almost every person's on a different target. So our Q's here, our Lucio's still back here low with the Malga on him, and then we're in. So it's not super split targets. But we're just overextending a lot. Like, our Lucio is kind of in a bad spot now. I don't think Lucio's getting out. And then we just need to stabilize. We need to understand we're down our tank. They're down their cast. There's a big difference. So now we need to back because we've already done our engagement, and now we need to stabilize. But it's pretty much going to be the end of the fight. We lose our Malga again. We actually see how the Malga dies. So rushes through a Kitsune. That'll probably take your health down a decent amount. Halfway. Instead of just going from this side onto the cast. You know, that makes a lot more sense. Just go through here where you won't take damage. Probably saves you about 400 health. So yeah, just immediately dead because the cast kites it. That's pretty much it. Don't rush through Kitsune. Enough said. So yeah, that's how that fight goes down. Yeah, so then we're just staggering it. I'm not really worried about the rest of this. I mean, yeah, most of those were just not staging. The positioning, scouting, staging every single time. You gotta get your positioning together, and you could kind of like say positioning, scouting, like scouting, staging, positioning. You could like it's a cycle. It's a constant cycle. You position, you scout, you stage, and then if that staging requires you to position again, because maybe you're staging to take space, then you have to reposition, scout, stage, go again. Like you could really interchange them however you need to. But yeah, if you're not scouting at all, and you're just like your venture burrows, you go onto the cast on the other side of the map, and then you just hope for the best. Well, yeah, you're just gonna get countered. I'm on the wrong map. There we go. Okay, so again, mirror comp here. So it's just about owning the space, forcing them into these tight chokes, and then going on that. It's a good pick on the cast. And then the Pharah gets low. This doesn't need the whole team to go kill a Pharah. So Malga can go main, the cast can go main. It really could just be the Lucio Pharah. Even if you don't even kill the Pharah, it's not the end of the world. If the Pharah goes this way, well, they're out of the fight for a while. It's a good kill, but it shouldn't take every single person to go on the Pharah here, and it doesn't. So again, the engagement is good, and then kind of just steamroll through. They were very split on their engage, so it works out. So there's really not much here. Just don't full send fool people to go kill one Pharah with 50 health. Alright, so this is another thing. So if they're coming from this high ground, we don't need to stage in the spots that they're looking. So instead of us, instead of positioning in these like open spots where they're just trying to poke, we just poke the different chokes. There's 1 choke, 2 choke, 3 choke. If they try to come out this way, sure, but if their Malga's already on high ground, well, he's probably not going to drop off the high ground, which means he needs to go all the way back around and then come through this choke. He's just going to go from there. So we just need to own these chokes, own this choke, and then we're good to go. So just take the space accordingly. So this is fine. I don't know actually where they're rotating. Yeah, so they rotate high. So they're really just trying to force the Malga out, right? Because this Malga owns... So if you guys don't have the Malga, this Malga is basically controlling all of this space. So if they force the Malga out, they get all that space for free. Now it becomes their space. It's all theirs. And then now you're like on the back foot because you have to continuously back up. And you have to make sure you're kiting properly. So the point here is just keep your Malga up. Put a lot of pressure on them so that they can't push that space even if they do force the Malga out. And then you kind of get the value from there. So this is good poke. I actually think... Yeah, so this is good poke on their back end. They're all like really stacked. That's a good pick. And then yeah, you can just play aggressively from that. As soon as you get that pick, it should just be in. Their carry TPs, carries the new target. And then, honestly, I would say in my opinion, if a Pharah is shooting at a Pharah, just let her. Like, if their Pharah is shooting at our Pharah, just fine. But honestly, like, even if they've got like 3 people alive on the ground here, our Pharah can just shoot at this. Like, literally just completely, like, unless they're a god tier Pharah and you know that they're probably going to hit a shot eventually, if you just fly around in the open and use your 2 mobility cooldowns, just ignore their Pharah. Because there's really no reason to shoot at this Pharah and, like, take this 1v1. Because even if their Pharah does win, like, we have a Kiri alive still that can, like, look over and give heals. They don't. So it's just, like, call for care whenever you need it. And then you have your mobility. Like, if Pharah 1v1s aren't a thing anymore, like, really? Like, not really. Because Pharah isn't, like, I'm going to fly around all day and then, like, have a Mercy Pocket or whatever, even if without the Mercy Pocket. It's just, I'm playing a character that has a lot of splash damage and has a lot of mobility now. So just kind of winning the fight is way more important. But it works out. And then yeah, this was a little bit overzealous. Okay, so now we need to give them space, but we don't want to fully uncommit, not decommit. We don't want to fully uncommit from this fight because we still want to own the point. We want to own point. We want to have presence on the point. We want to have space on point. We don't want to just fully give it up. So rotating is fine, but we have to rotate. Our Lucio also, okay, Lucio shouldn't go pick up Pharah. Pharah has enough mobility to get back on her own. I believe I actually called during the match to go get the Pharah. Lucio should not go get the Pharah. Like, you're not really doing anything. Like that Pharah is just going to be a little bit faster, but they already have 2 mobility things that they can use to get to the point faster. I mean, that Pharah can roll out from point and like be right here within a matter of seconds. So taxing the Pharah is not helpful. This Lucio needs to be with the team so that we can safely rotate. Because right now it's a very staggered rotation where the Cass and Kiri are trying to come from behind, and then our Malga is like sitting in the corner. So we have to make sure that our Lucio's still with the team, so it's not just the 3v5 and then they push super quickly. And because of this, we do have to give up the point, because there's no way that we're going to be able to control the point with 3 people. Like we have to give it. Okay, next point. This Pharah needs to get in on an angle. So ideally our Pharah is getting in on this side, somewhere over here, or even over from main, wherever. But if everybody's out on this coast, then everybody from their team can just sit here and look at this for free. And everybody's going to sit there just holding M1 down until something dies, or until something actually tries to engage. But if we have these angles where our Pharah, or even our Cass, I don't really care. If our Cass goes around over here, then their Malga might actually be dumb enough to go stomp on their cast, and then we're already on top of their cast, and we don't need to do anything. If the Malga tries to go stomp on the cast, our Kiri goes over and helps, our Lucio goes over and helps, and then we just kind of stabilize that way. And then that opens up our Pharah for the barrage. So if our cast takes an angle here, that's actually really nice, because our Pharah wants to be around the coast, because like they just can't really shoot the Pharah from coast. So this is a spot where our cast needs to like use brain and think, oh, if 4 people here, 5 not needed, and then go around here and start shooting from this angle. Call the Lucio over to say, hey, come with me. Because Lucio doesn't need to speed our team in. We're already standing in front of them. So if our Lucio and Cass come from over here, then we just start poking from this angle. They push this way, our Lucio speeds our cast out, and we're good. Similar like the Soj, the Kiri, like not Kiri, but Soj, where Soj just slides away. Now you just have the Lucio there to help you. Not needed, but Lucio's not going to be able to boop a Malga if he starts walking in. Boops don't do anything anymore. So it's just the speed utility that's needed. And then cleanse afterwards if needed to. Our cast might have a brain. Floor? Okay, this is good. So Floor comes through with a high noon. On this side, our Lucio's not with him, which is fine, because this could get hairy. Okay. To preface, because I don't think I've told everybody this, high noon needs to be cleansed when Malga goes for it. Every single time. Cleanse should always be saved for that. There's no need to really use, there shouldn't be a need to use cleanse before that anyway. And if we don't have cleanse, we probably shouldn't high noon, because this is just going to step on that. Unless the Malga is low enough that like you don't think he's going to push you, but he probably will. So that's like already 100% needed. So, okay, that being said, cast comes here. Understand that they are going to come this way. They're going to push the cast because the cast is low. When that happens, as soon as this cast is about to peak, he needs to call for the team to go in. You cannot high noon and then say, I'm high nooning. Or say, I'm going to high noon, and then immediately high noon, because they're just going to go on it immediately. This team, the timing needs to be like there if we're going to have these angles. Because as soon as this angle is pressured and they're going to start looking, we need to be able to go in onto their back line, or even like counter dive it, depending on the situation. We have to. Oh god, hitting buttons. I missed I missed the whole fight right there. Whoops. I couldn't hit my N key. Okay. We're on the cast. We high noon. I think a lot happening here, so I need to slow this down. Okay. Okay, so there's the engage. Cast in the corner. We go in. Our Kiri's over here. There we go. Our Kiri doesn't even have cooldowns. So cleanse goes out here. Yeah, so we don't really need this cleanse. The only person that's actually peeking our Malga is their Malga. We can out heal that. So this cleanse isn't needed here, because now we don't have it for 15 seconds, and we know we need to engage within the next... We're going to engage within the next 15 seconds. So we can't be lazy with that cooldown, because we're going to need it either for our cast or our Malga, depending on what happens. So we take the space now. That's right. So the peak. So positioning, stage, scouting. Scouting, staging. So we see the cast is in this corner, and we know our cast is here. Well, this is the perfect angle, because our cast is about to shoot their cast. Well, before their cast can turn and maybe luckily get a headshot, or their Lucio goes on it as well, we need to go. So this is where we need to go, and this is where we need Suzu, because somebody's going to need it on this engagement. So we can go in for free here. Their cast rolls, he gets flamed. Our Malga's half, and this is where we don't need Suzu for the cast. Why? Because their Malga's in a cage. He's not going to be able to drop the cage and then step on the cast. If he does, he's an idiot. So we match the rush, or not even match the rush. We just have the rush first, and then we need cleanse here for the Malga, because now we're in. We have the perfect like staging, positioning, all that. Now we don't have the cooldowns. So this is a good rush, but we don't have what we need to actually save our Malga. Bar comes in. And then it's unfortunate that how did I kill the Malga after? Hold on, sorry, real quick. How did I kill their Malga after I was dead? Oh, burning, I guess. Sure, burn, calculated. All right, anyway, so Farah comes in, kills the cast. No, their cast kills our cast. Again, just a lot of random things happening right now that shouldn't have happened, because we should have just had the cooldowns that we needed. It's a good engagement in the beginning, and then we just need to make sure that our Kiri actually has either of their cooldowns to be able to help out as needed, and then we can like push them out from there. So we end up winning this fight, probably, I would assume, surely, with Rush. So just forcing things out on point. Let me speed it up a little bit. That's unfortunate. Okay, so I don't think we ended this, but they use Barrage and Kiri Rush there, so that's kind of worth it. Okay, so now it's just about forcing things out. Now we need to take space. Okay, notice their positioning. They are not set for anything at all right now. Their Malga's half health, and he's already in. They used Cleanse like 6 seconds ago, but not sure if anybody calls that. But they cannot help their Malga here. He's just out in the dust. They have no ults for him, like except for beat. And if they force beat here this early, we just take space and then we go in after the beat cools down. That's it. So we're forcing the Malga out. He goes back. Now we own this space. Now, they're in a corner. This is exactly where we want them. This is literally exactly what I drew in the very first map, or first map, where we have 1, 2, 3 chokes that we're shooting through, and they have 1 choke over here that they're backing towards. It's exactly the same scenario, and this is why it's so powerful, because we have a perfect setup here where we have our Pharah on this angle, our Lucio cast here, our Kiri poking main, and our Malga controlling the point. Like, this makes me happy. This looks good. This is accurate. This is what it should look like. We own space, and it's just too easy because they backed into it because they didn't have cooldowns. Now, how do you get these cooldowns out so it looks like this more often or every time? Well, you just play smarter with your positioning, and you stage, and you scout, and you know, it's the same. It goes back to that. You're positioning, you're scouting, you're staging. Where we see, oh, Malga's low, we push the Malga back. He gives us all of this space that he was controlling, and then their whole team goes, oh shit, we're down our cooldowns, we have no ults, whatever. Let's back into a corner, because they're probably planning to high noon this to push us back out, but that doesn't matter. High noon's not going to stop us from pushing in. Cage beat, done. There's your win condition. Malga goes in, their cast gets split because he rolls the wrong way, and he dies. And now we just own this choke. We just own it. They can't do anything, and they're stuck, so just shoot whatever peeks through. Malga tries to go in, he's dead. Textbook. That's literally perfect. That's all it has to do. Like, that's what you need to shoot for every single time when you see this exact fight. Forcing their tank out of position, burning the tank, he runs away, their team's not staged, they back into a really bad spot. Just force them into these different chokes, which means, again, position yourself so that you do that. If our team goes this way, well, we're not going to force them into a choke. We're going to give them all of this space here, and they're going to take space, and they're going to take advantage of that. And that's why that first fight went so awkwardly, because we tried to push out of 1 choke, which we did well to remedy by taking different angles, but again, we didn't have cooldowns. Now, this one, we pushed from main, we forced them back. They didn't take several angles. They should have had several angles here, like here, 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 and here, where they're just poking at us from multiple angles and we're going through 2 chokes. Or maybe 1 choke. So that would have been better for them. But since they didn't, we take advantage and we capitalize on it. So that's perfect. So, one thing to point out here. We do not have ults. They don't really have ults either, but they have casts. All we need to do is play this slow to get our ults. If they high noon from somewhere, we can just kite it at this point. It's kind of free. It's 53% on their side. Even if we like lose a fight here, then we still have another go. We don't want to lose the fight, but we do want to bring it to 99. Because we don't need to like force anything super quick here, because we just play for point, play for ults, and then we like use our ults when we get them. Because we got 3 ults that we can realistically get relatively quick, so we just need to play slow and play safe. However, this positioning versus last positioning, like if you guys remember from, like we had our Pharah like kind of main shooting, or like over in this area shooting this angle. Our Maga was holding here, and then we had space. Well, if they go out this way, they go out from this side, it's the same thing, just play this side of the map, and we're just poking them. And if they try to rotate far, well then yeah, we just rotate back over, and then we meet them here at this choke. But we need to play our positioning in the very first fight, in the first phase, I guess, where we're putting pressure. But we've got 3 people standing here, and then our cast not really controlling any space. Well, now we're going to be kind of screwed, because we don't really own enough space to poke them out and push them, put pressure on them. So positioning-wise, like we don't want to be stacked like this, because now we're not doing anything. So they high noon, we just kite. That's unfortunate. Our Lucio dies. Now we need to just back to point. Too early of a TP. Actually, I think the cast was free to TP instead. But yeah, now it's just stalling it out to 100. But we do get 2 ults, so that's good. That's worth it. We get 1 ult out from them, we get 2 ults. This could have been played way better and still technically winnable if we just stall it out for ults and we aren't peeking as much as we were, and we just hold our angles, and then when they try to push out, we put damage on them, and then we go to point. Okay, so same thing here. If we high noon from this, again, really good positioning. It's a great position, actually. And the reason I say that is because, A, like, yeah, sure. Lucio's here, Kiri's main with the Malga here, Pharah's on an angle. Perfect. However, what makes it really good is the angle of the high noon. If we high noon from this side, where our cast is here and he high noons, where they're going to back up to this corner. But we high noon from this side, which means they're going to back up to this corner and try to kite to where our Pharah is going. It's the same thing as like rush comps, dive comps, any comp really where you're baiting space, where you like either kite the enemy towards like where your Tracer stage or your Sombra stage, or your Venture stage even, and you're like kiting them into your team's space. This is the exact same thing, where we just kite, we force them to like back into a spot that they don't want to be, and then it's a spot where our team wants them to go, versus coming even from this side, and then we push them back here around this corner, well, our Pharah is not really going to be able to get a reliable barrage there. That's a good kill. Their Malga's in, our Pharah's in, and then we just kind of get, because their whole team doesn't know what to do. Their team split to like 3 different sides of the map, so they just kind of got lost. So, I mean, that's pretty much, that's it. Like, that'll just do it for you. So overall, not bad, but yeah, like there's a lot of just full, like on the Venture Genji, it's just like you can't just full send it without looking what's going on. And then the farm cast, it's just like you got poke, so that's great, but like you have to position yourself so that you're getting the maximum value out of the poke, and you need to be aggressive with your poke. That way, they might even use cooldowns early. Like I say, their Malga tries to charge your cast, but it's like almost full range charge. Like you have to understand the Malga's charge distance, and then your Lucio's there to speed your cast out, so your cast can also roll, and then we're able to stabilize so that now they don't have charge, we counter charge their Malga, and then he dies. That's it.